Hello, guys, and welcome back to another video of the Paarl, where today I will be having a special guest who has been a major influence in my life and to the name of this YouTube channel joining us today to discuss about audiobooks. Because as you know, the name of this YouTube channel is called the Paarl, which the name came from one of my favorite audiobooks. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video and can get something inspirational from listening to my discussion with Kemar Reid. So let's start this discussion. Welcome to the Paarl, Kemar.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome, So today we will be talking about audiobooks, especially since you were the one that introduced me to audiobooks.
Okay,
All right.
great.
So my first question is for you is why did you started listening to audiobooks?
Well, I actually never knew about audiobooks until I think I went to this seminar one time, and the host was playing audiobook, and I was just intrigued by it. So at the end of the seminar, I asked her like, who was the author she was playing, and she told me about it. I don't remember exactly who it was, but ended up looking them up. I think it was Zig Ziglar. I ended up looking him up, found some audiobooks online, and from there, everything just kind of started gelling. I think the whole reason I gravitated towards audiobooks so much was the fact that, you can still be busy physically and you're listening, you're reading a book while you're going about your day, you're driving, you're probably doing some yard work, something like that. So your hands busy, but your ears free. So that's how I really got started.
And I can most definitely remember you always listening to audiobooks when we were in the car together.
Yeah, definitely. I remember those days too.
Well, they were very good days too. So, like, how do you think audiobooks have been beneficial for you since you started listening to them?
I think they have been very beneficial because um I think ever since I started working, I felt like I didn't have time to, sit down and do leisure reading or even just read for study. I know when you're in school you read because you have to read, but when you actually want to find something that you want to read, it's you feel like you don't have the time, or sometimes it's just harder to pick up a book and spend 30 minutes or an hour and read. So the whole being busy and still listening to a book was very good. It started to help me to learn a lot more about people and myself and just life in general. So I know it's made a big impact on the person I am today and where I am, I guess, career wise, and just the growth overall when I look back at like me 5 years ago and where I am now and things that how I look at certain things. I know that it's all coming from books and things that I've learned through audiobooks and other areas or other channels that I got put onto because I started with audiobook.
I see. And which top three books would you say have been the best in influencing you from the past 5 years?
5 years. I think the very first one that's always at the top for me, it's it has to be Jim Rohn Challenge to Succeed.
That's mine. That's mine as well. I love that
Yeah,
one.
I don't think it's a very popular book. Well, from what I've seen, I don't see people posting it a lot. But for me, that's like the number one because that really, when you listen to that book, you have to really look at yourself and look at what you're doing because it's like it's so simple in terms of how it's brought to you the information. It's like everyday things, but as Jim Rohn said, the things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. So I would say that one is definitely number one for me. Challenge to succeed. That kind of started me or get me going. That was the push that like kind of got me like hooked on reading and opening my Audible. Well, yeah, creating an Audible account where even create doing a subscription. I know a lot of people do probably say a Netflix subscription or something, something for entertainment. But after a while, my Audible subscription was that was kind of my entertainment outside. I would prefer to listen to a book than to go binge a series. I remember listening to maybe a 8 hour book in 2 3 days from start to finish. And it's not like it didn't feel, like a chore. So yeah, that one was number one. I would say the second one that had the most impact on me, um, I would say The Richest Man in Babylon. And that book was a book recommended to by Jim Rohn.
I have my
I
copy
have
right
it.
here.
Nice. Yeah, that book had like so many nuggets in it. It's just things that we all should know and do, but most of us don't based on how we're socialized, in Jamaica or wherever you're from, or just in how society teach you how to handle money. I think that book is like a book that should be read in schools, like as a financial education course or some finance course. That book should be read by like everyone. I think every child in school should have a class on finances, how to handle money and all. 'Cause that's just something we don't get taught. And it's like, no, you look at yourself, you say, if you have children, you don't want your children to make the same
Mhm.
mistakes you did. So you try to either you set them up in a way where they're better off than you were, or you try to pass certain information on to them as soon as they're at an age where they can grasp it, or even just create different um, customs within your family or trends, stuff that will nudge them in the direction that you kind of want them to go. So this book was so easy to read, so short, and the stories were like very interesting. It's like real life things, and a lot of us still don't do it, even after reading it and understanding what it is, and it ties right back to the Bible. Actually, that should have been my number one book, as I mentioned, the Bible, because I try to listen every day, and I do the audio version as well. So even though Jim Rohn knows I got me on audiobooks, I think the Bible is probably the book that I can listen from start cover to finish every day. Like just keep on listening to it and not like get bored of it or say, okay, I know it all. It doesn't matter how many times you listen to a book within that. And that's like so many books in one. As I said, it doesn't matter how many times you listen to a book in it. You still find something new or you learn something else from it. There's always some takeaway from it. So that's in it. But I would say the third. So the first is Jim Rohn Challenge to Succeed. Second, um, Richest Man in Babylon, George Clayson. And the third, let's see, this one, what book has the biggest impact? This, if nothing else is jumping out at me right now, I would definitely have to say the Bible then as a third, even though that should be the first. But in particular, one book of the Bible, the Acts of the Apostles.
Acts of the
That
Apostle.
book, yeah, that book has like when you read through it and go through certain areas, it just like that you can say, oh, no wonder why Christianity is like so big or so worldwide and like one of the religions that you don't think is going anywhere based on the things that they're doing. And even if you're not religious or not um, a Christian, it's still a book that has so many life lessons in it, and it touches every area. So that's definitely one of the top for me that I always listen to on my way to work, probably on my way back sometimes, and it's just sometimes to pick up the motivation that you need for the day.
That is true. And Jim Rohn most definitely made a quote about that.
Yes,
Yes.
he did.
Because he said sometimes you can't really rely on external motivation, but you have to go and find the motivation that you need.
Exactly.
So
And I think Zig Ziglar has a similar quote that he always uses. He says, "Don't don't be motivated to do something. Do the something until you're motivated to keep doing it." And that's how any habit or any like thing that you keep you get accustomed to and becomes a normal thing in your life starts. You start doing it until at first you probably don't like it, even though you probably still don't like it, but you do it because you know the benefits of it, kind of like working out or eating clean, stuff like that. Yep.
yeah. And I'll most definitely check the Zig Ziglar quote after we're finished with this video as well, Kemar.
Okay.
And so what books are you listening to now, though, currently? Otherwise from Acts of the Apostle and the Bible. What else are you listening to now?
The most recent one, which one was it? Let me see. I'll have to look at my Audible.
Sure.
Sometimes I listen to multiple at a time. So yeah, so one of my one longtime favorite, I went back to it. That's the one I've been listening to. I think I finished it not maybe a week or 2 weeks ago. The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by
Ah,
Stephen Covey. Yeah, that one. It's like I was in a staff meeting and my manager was. I think everyone, all of us are in this room as a manager, and I think this book has made a big impact on where I am and how I lead. And I think it would be a good influence on everyone if they should read it. And the book that he brought up was Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm like, I've read that book a couple of times, so I went back, listened to it, and you know, just reinforce some things, reestablish some um, traits that I've probably fallen off on. Yeah, so the next one was I just read a book by James Ramsey. No,
James
sorry,
Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey. That's his number one bestseller called yes, Total Money Makeover.
Total Money
So
Makeover.
yes, by Dave Ramsey. That's a book I would recommend too for it's right up there with Richest Man in Babylon. And a lot of the principles that's in it are from that book and from the Bible because he's faith based. So the principle that he teaches about money is pretty much what the Bible teaches about money.
Mm-hmm.
And along the same lines that you would learn from the richest man in Babylon as well. So That's one book I would definitely recommend. The third one, most recent that I've read, that I would say is that's like a gem. It's by Chris Hogan. It's called Retired Inspired.
Repeat that
That
one.
book, Retired Inspired.
Oh, retired, inspired.
Yes. So it's a book that teaches you. So pretty much throughout that book, they interviewed 10,000 millionaires in the United States and found out, like, just asked them questions, did a survey, paid them to do a survey, and based on the answers, they pretty much created data and spoke about the different data throughout the book. Like they would say, 90% of millionaires did this. They invested in 401k consistently for 20 to 30 years and so on, and different things that they did. So, and they busted like a lot of myths that are going around. Like persons would say, oh, you can't do this unless you have, certain myths that are there. They just debunk all those myths with data, real life data. So that's a very good book as well. Chris Hogan, Retired Inspired.
All right. So your top recommended books would be Total Money Makeover, A Challenge to Succeed, and Acts of the Apostle, right? And The Richest Man in Babylon
Yeah,
would be some of your
yeah,
top books.
yes, definitely, definitely. Richest Man in Babylon. That's always in there. The Bible overall. That's Acts of the Apostle in the Bible. That's always up there. And Total Money Makeover. I think if you read Total Money Makeover and you really resonate with the content in it, you'll kind of gravitate towards the other books like Retired Inspired, because those are kind of a follow-up book that you would go to after you've gotten to a certain stage in your life in terms of finance, after going through the Total Money Makeover, if you follow the Total Money Makeover. But yeah, those are the top books I would recommend right now. A
That
little
sounds
bit
good.
everything, something to motivate you, something to work on your finance, and something to work on your future.
So those are some very important aspects of life for you: motivation, your future, and your finances.
Exactly. Yes, I think everything. I know. As you say, you shouldn't rely on things or people to influence you. You should, or not influence, motivate you. But sometimes you just need to do the things that help to keep you in that frame of mind in terms of staying self motivated, like listening to the books that have the is saying what you want to hear. So keep listening to it until you don't have to listen to it. You don't have to go back to that to remind you what you're going for, where you're headed, and the why you're doing what you're doing. So
Yes.
yeah.
All right, Kemar. So we're almost finished. So for my final questions, what do you have to say to the persons that will be watching this video?
Well, I would say if you're busy and you think you don't have enough time to read and to develop and grow, you do audiobooks. You might not be into audiobooks, but just try it. It's a easy way to learn, and it doesn't have to always be nonfiction or stuff to motivate you. It could be something new that you want to learn. You might not be seeing the visual aspect, but if you're a visual learner, then it may not be the best avenue for you. But if you're not a visual learner, you can grasp concepts just by hearing what the author is saying, then it's a good way to learn a new skill that will help you in your current career or just your daily life, your family life, so you have nothing to lose. You're already driving, probably listen to the radio or just looking out the window, doing your daily thing. This can be something that try it. You have nothing to lose here. Only stuff to gain.
Yes. So, Kemar, once again, I would like to thank you for being an influence to my life. And I hope when others watch this video, they will get something beneficial and positive from you.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you for having me. And I'm glad I could be an influence to you. And you're a big influence to me as well.
Thank you,
So
Kemar.
thank you for having me. And all the best to your subscribers watching this video. I hope you enjoy the books that I recommended. You'll definitely do.
Big up yourself, Kemar.
All right.
All right. So, thank you for coming on the Paarl, Kemar, and please enjoy the rest of your night, okay?
Thank you, Shannon. You too.